Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are creating this gorgeous granny square. Now we're actually creating this one here today, but just a quick heads up to let you know that we are making a little granny tote bag on our live, lives both on Wednesday afternoon 4 p.m. and Saturday morning 10 a.m. Melbourne Australia time, and we are creating them live. Why? Well, because we can. Why not? That's what I say. Why not? Now, we created this one on Saturday's live, and we created that, and I said go ahead and do another few more rounds, then meet me back here on Saturday week and we will put two of them together. So I'll be leaving some instructions on our community board to make sure everybody knows what they're doing, and today week on the live, or Saturday week on the live, we'll be joining our squares together. Now here's these two already done. All right, so that's the back, and the two backs are together and your fronts are there. So that's how big our bag will look. If you wanted a larger bag, we actually do that here. There it is right there. How gorgeous is that bag? Now that is fairly large. It's a lot bigger than the one we're making today. So if you wanted a bigger bag, head off on your own, and I'll leave a link to that bag in the description box down below, and you can actually make that bag. But in the meantime, today's tutorial is to show the beginners how to create a gorgeous granny square for the first time, using all these colors and weaving in our ends as well. So you get the full tutorial today on how to make this square. So when you finish this tutorial, you will have this size square finished. I do give you instructions on how to make it this size if you wanted to go ahead and make the bag with us, and then I tell you to join us on our lives to make that bag. Otherwise, just simply make this square right here and you can actually learn how to make a square today. That's it. All right, what you will need is some cotton. Now I've used a cotton called Wren, W-R-E-N. I don't have the labels with me because, as you can see, the labels have been cut off. This is one of my older jobs and I forgot to keep the labels, but it is a Wren cotton, W-R-E-N. It is 100% pure cotton. It is an 8-ply or a DK weight or a number 3 weight overseas. But you can also use an Aran weight for this project, or a number 4 weight or a 10-ply yarn. All right. And you can go higher if you want. You can go 12-ply, 14-ply, 16, super chunky, whatever you want. So long as it's a cotton. I find cotton is the best thread or yarn to use for bags because it's very durable. Plus look at the colors. Oh my gosh, aren't they to die for? Anyway, I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I'm just going to let you head off on your own creating this gorgeous granny square. Good luck all. Alrighty guys, there are two ways that you can start by making a granny square. I'm going to show you one way first, and then I'm going to show you the way I'm going to use on my square. So one way, which is the basic and probably the best way for a new crocheter, is to form a slip knot. Grab the tail end of your yarn, wrap it around your finger once and twice, holding it there, holding it down there, pass your back loop halfway over your finger, hold it there, pass the other loop all the way over, pop your hook in that loop and just give everything a tug. And that's the start. And then you're going to chain 3. Now, for those of you who are wanting to use the magic ring or the magic circle or the magic loop, just wait one moment and I'll do that in a moment. But firstly, I'm going to chain 1, which is yarn over our hook, pull it through to the loop on your hook once, and then twice, and then 3 times. Then you're going to slip stitch into the stitch from the very first stitch that you created, pull a loop through, and just pull everything down there, and you can see like a little slip stitch join there, and just pull that loop through to the loop on your hook, chain 1, 2 and 3, and then put a double crochet, which is yarn over your hook, in the space that you just made. Pop your hook in the space, making sure you're holding everything, pull a loop through. You've got 1, 2, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now this is the best way to start your square if you are a beginner, So beginners, if you're wanting to wait here for a moment, just grab a stitch marker. You can use a paper clip, a safety pin, a piece of thread even. That's the stitch that we just completed and it looks like the letter V. I'll show you properly later, but we don't put our stitch marker there. We place it in the chain just before the stitch, and that's 2 top loops there and 1 loop on the bottom. All right, pop your stitch marker on. Whoops, that's a hard one. And then just get ready for the next step, which I'll show you in one moment. But for the rest of us, and you know what, newbies, if you want to make it and try this stitch, you can. This is the best way of making a granny square if you want the circle to be closed. And that's what we're looking for our bag. So grab your tail yarn in front, grab your working yarn. There's 2 fingers, sorry. Grab your working yarn, wrap it around your fingers and just forming the letter X, like so. Yeah. Then you grab your hook and you pass it under the first loop, grab that back loop, up and forward. Now you've got your one over there and then 2 here. You need to literally grab all of it. It's a little fiddly, all right? It's very fiddly, so you're going to need to practice that stitch, which we actually do have that stitch, and I'll leave a stitch for this particular version in a description box down below, and it will be called the magic ring or the magic circle or the magic loop, and you can try that out. But for the rest of us, chain 1, 2 and 3, and in that circle right there, the center, you're going to do a double crochet like we did before. Yarn over our hook in the space, don't let go of anything, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through those last 2. Now just give that little thread a little bit of a tug, not too much, because we're going to fit some more double crochets in there, and just give it a little tug and it closes up, just that little bit. Yeah. And like the beginners, I want everyone at this stage to place a stitch marker, not in the stitch that we just did, yeah, but in the chain stitch just before it. And obviously yours truly has done hers really tight. Okay, new crocheters, be careful not to crochet too tight, yeah? Especially when it comes to the first chain. All right, so in this pattern, the chain 3 that we've done in the beginning will act as a double crochet. So 1 double crochet, this is your second, and now we're doing your third. Yarn over your hook into the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. I think that's a little too close now that you know how to do a double crochet. We are going to do chain 2, 1 and 2, and that's your first corner. Yeah, yarn over your hook, put 3 double crochets in the space, still crocheting over all your tails. So 1, 2 and 3. All right, and now what we're going to do is do another corner. Chain 2, 1 and 2. Again with 3 double crochets. 1, just going slowly for you. 2, 3. And what are you going to do now? Another corner. We've got 1, 2, 3. So let's do another corner, or 1 and 2. And now we're going to put the last set of 3 double crochets in the space. 1, 2 and 3. All right, so what you have is all of that. Now if you didn't do the magic loop or the magic ring, don't worry about this part, but for the rest of us, grab your tail and just give it a tug, and presto, that center closes up. All right, so if you wanted to go ahead and do the magic ring or the magic loop again, I've just left a little timestamp right there now. You can go back and restart your square at that time, all right? But for the rest of us, we still need to do another corner. Chain 1 and 2. And then we need to slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. Now, if you didn't place a stitch marker, I'll show you what to do in a minute. But for the rest of us, just pop your hook into your tight stitch. Oh, here we go again. I'm taking mine out. Pop your hook into the tight stitch. But with the rest of you guys who are waiting to have a look at stitches, before I slip stitch, I'm going to show you that this double crochet, that little V belongs to that. That little V belongs to that post. These are posts, by the way, these two stem looking things. So that belongs to that, that belongs to that. And you need to slip stitch into that stitch right there. It's right next to your double crochet and you're going through both those loops. I know you only saw me do one there, but you need to go through both. So there's one loop there and right behind it, it's the tight loop right behind it. Pop your loop through like so and through to the loop on your hook. And what you have done, let's just chain 1 for a minute, is formed your little corner. And there you go. That's your tiny little square. How gorgeous is that? Now, the reason we chained 1 is because we're going to cut that and change colours. Now, give yourself a decent amount of tail to weave in. I notice a lot of people tend to leave this much tail and then they can't weave it in. So give yourself a nice, decent, maybe this is too long. Yours truly likes to leave long tails. But give yourself a decent amount to weave in. We are going to change colours. Which colour do I hear you ask? Let's change to, oh, that's a bold yellow. That's a really, really, really bold yellow. If I can find the end. Alrighty, here we go. Now, to restart your new colour, you can start in any corner you like. You can start in the corner, and let's get it closer. You can start in the corner that you just finished in, or I like to start in the corner just before. And what I do, the reason I do that is so that all the tails can be in different areas and it doesn't bulk up in one area and have a whole lot of tails in the one area. So I'm going to go back to the stitch. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, we slip stitched into that, yeah? This is the right side of our work for this particular piece, yeah? How you can tell is when you're looking at these V's, if they are facing you, that's the right side. If you turn it around, those V's are pointing where they are. They're pointing that way. That's the wrong side. The other reason you can tell is because we pop our tails at the back. It is a bubbled edge, whereas the normal side, which is the right side, is a nice soft edge. And then if you like bubbled edges, by all means use that side, but then pop your loop through to this side and weave it in there. But we're not worried about that. We're going to pop our hook in. We're going to grab, let's bring it out a little bit. Grab a yellow and just pop your hook over, pop your yarn over your hook, pull it through, and what you have is that. Grabbing the little tail end, passing it forward. Now, I know a lot of people knot their yarn. I don't knot it. Not in the beginning, all right? But we are going to crochet over this and weave it in as well. So chain 1 will help lock it all into place. Chain 2, chain 3, hold it there. This time we're in a comfortable situation where we can pop our stitch marker in that chain, the top chain there now. Before it was a bit difficult because we were trying to hold on to everything. But now you can actually pop your stitch marker in. Two top loops, 1 base loop, close it up. Again, you can use a piece of thread or anything you have in stock. Yarn over your hook. In that center, we are going to place 2 double crochets. So off you go. Crocheting over your tail as well. 1. Now, if you don't want to crochet over your tail, that's fine. We'll be weaving that in as well. And 2. Now you're going to chain 2. 1 and 2. Then you're going to put another 3 double crochets in that center. So off you go. 1. Let me bring it out a little bit because I keep going out of frame. and 2 and 3. Whoops, nearly went the wrong way. Just pop your tail, the little yellow tail, at the back and leave it there. We are going to weave that in later. Don't think that's it. All right, so yarn over your hook. See this corner right here? You're going to skip these 3 double crochets and do exactly that in this corner, yeah? But I'm going to crochet over my tail. Now this is not necessary. You can weave that in later, but what I do is just a little tip. Pop the tail at the back in my fingers and I'm yarn over my hook. I crochet over the tail. The second I'm in, I drop that tail and start my first double. Now if that annoys you and makes your stitch there too loose, then don't do it, yeah? But I usually do that. That's my first double crochet. And if it sticks out like that there, I just pull it at the back. Again, this is not necessary. It's something I like to do. Do a second double crochet. I don't need to hold that tail anymore. A third double crochet. Chain 2. 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets. So what you've done here is you have formed your second corner, and let me show you both corners now so you know what you've done. All right, that was your first corner. Now we've grown along here. This is your second corner, and in your second round, this is a second round by the way, in your second round all you're doing is skipping 3 double crochets and doing what I like to call a double corner cluster set. And all you're doing is 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets, or 2 cluster set, that sort of thing. It depends on how I've written the pattern, but this is actually just, I'm going to take mine undone because look at that really big space there. All right, don't, be careful not to leave little spaces like that. I've just left it too loose, so just bear with me guys while I finish off this corner again. I'll do this part fast so you don't have to wait around too long. While you're waiting, jump into the very next corner and do your next corner, and I'll be there in just a moment. All right, so I'm going to jump into my last corner with my double cluster set. 1, 2, I'm sorry, I was going fast before. I got used to it. 3, chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets. 1, 2 and 3 double crochets. All right, so what we have here is that. How gorgeous are those colours, so bright. Oh, I'm so excited. From here, all we're going to do is slip stitch into that stitch marker. So we skip over our 3 double crochets and we into the stitch marker stitch, not the stitch marker. Take out your stitch marker, it can get a little tight there, yeah. Grab your loop and pull it through. Pull it through to the loop on your hook, tighten it up a little, pull up a loop or chain 1, whatever you want to call it, and give your work a cut, sorry. And that is your second round. Gorgeous, simply divine. So there you go. The very next round is totally different. It changes completely. You're still doing your double cluster set in each corner. However, we now have sides that we need to fill in as well. So you're putting your double cluster set in there, and in that space right there, you are doing those 3 double crochets that you see right there. So you do your corner, jump into that space, do 3 double crochets, do a corner, jump into that space, 3 double crochets, corner, and so on. And we're going to do that now. And the colour we're changing to is orange. Okay, so grabbing your piece. Now you can start anywhere you like. Once again, I'm going to start in the corner just before it. Not necessary, just that's the way I like to start. Okay, pop your yarn over your hook, pull it through the corner space, and again, just grab your tail, passing it forward just to lock it into place, and then we will chain 1, 2, and 3. Pop your stitch marker in that top chain, the third chain, yep. And then 2 double crochets in the space, 1 and 2, like so. Chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets again in the space, crocheting over your tail. All right, and 3. There you go. That is your first corner. Grab that little tail and pop it at the back. And once again, yours truly is going to crochet over the tail, but it's not necessary if this confuses you too much here. What we're going to do now is jump over these 3 double crochets, pop into this center space, and we are doing 1 cluster set, is what I like to call it, 3 double crochets. So yarn over your hook, into the space, and do your normal double crochet. And a second one. And a third one. And that is called a cluster set. When I'm referring to the Granny Square, for me it's called a cluster set, just 1 cluster set. Then when you go into the corner, you skip these 3 double crochets into your corner, you're doing a double cluster set of 3 double crochets. Chain 2 and 3 double crochets. 1, 2 and 3. Guess what? It is as easy as that. You're going to jump these 3, go into the middle with 1 cluster set, jump these 3, go into the corner with a double cluster set. Do the same here and the same here. We're going to do this side together. Jump them into the center with your 3 double crochets, or 1 cluster set. Jump the 3 into the corner space with a double cluster set of 3 double crochets. Chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets, all in the same corner. And there you go. Oh, my yarn is caught. Give me 2 seconds. Sure is caught. All right. Once again, we're going to do the side. You know what to do. Into the center with your 3 or your cluster set. Into the corner with your double cluster set. Chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets. 1, 2 and 3. All right, now we have 1 space left in the middle. We've done all the corners. Look how gorgeous that's looking. Oh my gosh, so excited. We skip that set and we do 1 set in the side of your square of 3 double crochets. And initially you're supposed to skip that set and do a corner, but our corner is already done, set and ready for us. So all we need to do is slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker, pulling it through there and then pulling it through to the loop on your hook. Pull up a loop. Beauty is pain, guys. Beauty is pain. Give it a cut. You're thinking, no, not another one. But trust me, it does look good. It really does. You saw in the promo how good it looks. Grab your purple. Get way too excited, guys. I think I've got 2 ends started here on the purple. Can you believe it? So grab your purple. How gorgeous does that look? I'm way too excited. All right, so here we go. So if you turn your work around, all your tails should be at the back. And the way I've been working is going forward one all the time is allowing all these tails to be in different spots. So it's not all bunched up in one corner. And the reason I know this is because we are going to do our very next colour and we're going to add it into the corner just before our loop. You don't need to, again, not necessary. Grab your little tail and pop it over your hook, pull it through. Once again, you are going to bring it forward just to lock it into place for a moment. Chain 1, 2, and on your third one, you're going to pop your stitch marker. I think you're geniuses at this now, really. You're definitely geniuses at doing the corners, yeah? 2 double crochets. Again, remember that your chain 3 acts as a double crochet in every round, yeah? For this piece, chain 1 and 2, not always in every pattern, so be wary of that. Now you're doing your 3 double crochets. You might have a pattern that says chain 2 or chain 3 or chain 4, whatever, does not act as a double crochet. It does not act as a stitch, it's just there. Yeah. Grab your tail end, passing it at the back once again. Oh, what have we got here? We now have 2 spaces to fill in. How exciting now. You can tell it's growing. All right, so what you're going to do is jump over the first set of double crochets and put a cluster set of 3 double crochets only in your side space, your first side space. Then once again, you're going to jump over those 3. I'm going to hold on to the tail, not necessary. You are going to put 3 double crochets into your very next side space. It's super duper easy, yeah? Well, it's not easy, it's repetitive. That's all it is. So once you get the hang of it, you know exactly what you're doing. Now you're jumping over your 3 double crochets into your corner. What do we always do in a corner? We do a corner set of 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 and 2. And once again, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. And you've done one side of your piece already. How gorgeous. I am so loving these colours. What a great colour combination I've chosen. All right, so along this side, we're going to do the same thing as we've done here. One set in there of 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3. A set in the next one, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. And guess what? Your corner set of 1, 2, 3. Chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Hold it there. All right, what I want you to do here, this is correct. I want you to try and complete the rest of this side on your own. Yeah, you can do this. I have faith in you. Get to your very last set, complete it. So what you're doing here is a set, 1 there, 1 there, a double there, 1 there, and 1 there. Once you complete that last one, wait for me there, and I'll tell you what we're going to do next. Alrighty, what you should have right now is that. So initially what you have, once we slip stitch to join, would be the start, or actually the basic granny square. Now it's actually a basic granny, but we're going to do another round. If you're wanting to make our particular tote bag that we are making on our live, let's bring that up a bit. These are the two pieces that we are making on our live for, let's turn it around so you can see it. That's how small the bag is, right? It's a small tote bag. It's not a big one. We have made a big one before. There it is right there. That's the picture of it. How gorgeous is that one? If you want to make that one, you can actually make that one by clicking in the link in the description box down below, the very first link you come to, and you can create that bag there. But in the meantime, this is what we are making, and our bag will be that size. Now, we'll talk about sizing in the future. All right, this is just saying to you, if you're wanting to make our bag, you must join us on our lives at Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. or Saturday mornings 10 a.m. Melbourne Australia Time, as we are making these bags live. What? This one we're making live on Saturday mornings, and in actual fact, I'll pop the live in the link in the description box down below, and started around 1 hour into the live, we started the square. Now, we actually are making this one on Saturdays and this one on our Wednesdays live. So we are making two different, exactly the same styles, just two different color combinations, all right? So if you're wanting to make our bag, oh, by the way, so you can see what the next color is, it will be your green. So we started with the green there, then we went into the yellow, then we went into the orange, then we went into the purple, and now we're going back into the green. And then we'll talk about whether you want to make the bag with us or not. Oops, I've got the green ready, but we're not ready to do that yet. We've got a slip stitch, don't we? Hello. All right, so at this stage, you'll have a gazillion ends at the back. Don't worry about that. I'll show you what to do with that in a minute. But in the meantime, let us all slip stitch to join. Oops. Pull the loop through. Pull it through to the loop on your hook. I should have taken that out, but doesn't matter. It's out now. Chain one. Pull up your loop. And give your work a cut yet again. All right. So there you are. That is your first part of your square. Before we reattach our yarn, we're going to weave in one or two of these ends, but just quickly, especially that very first end. Now everyone, it doesn't matter whether you did either one of the joins from the beginning, whether you did the magic loop or whether you did a chain 3, you all still need to weave in this first end. Don't let anyone tell you that that's not going to come undone. It can. Now, if you've chained 3, don't weave in as tight as we're going to do now. But for the rest of us, if we did the magic loop and it started to open, just give it a tug and close it. Then grabbing your needle and just weaving in and out of your stitches in the direction that you are crocheting in. Check the front that you can't see the needle, because otherwise the thread will show, and just pull that through. If you are doing a chain 3, just pull it through like that. But for us who did the magic circle or magic ring or magic loop, give it a tug, a real big tug. And we're going to keep going in the round just for maybe one more set, I think. Turn it over, check that you can't see the needle. You can see it through there, but that's just a gap, right? I might do it one more time. Yeah. In that way. Just check you can't see the needle. Let's have a look. Yes, all good. Now, before you cut your thread, turn it around and go in the opposite direction, but making sure you are splitting your thread from a different section. You don't want to go through the same way you came in, otherwise you're going to unravel what you just did. Check the front. No thread. Pull it through. One more time, because, well, if you are new to my channel, heads up, I'm a big stickler with ends, yeah? But I am a big stickler with ends, but what I do is once I've done them, they don't come undone, because I literally do a naughty in crochet, and I'll show you in the next thread. So grab your needle and grab any thread. I think I'll grab, you know what, I'll grab one of these small sections, you know, where you've just gone over it with 3, yeah? So just grab any thread, and I'll show you what I mean by an absolute no-no in crochet. And a lot of people tell me off for doing this, but it works and it doesn't come undone. So what I do is I actually split a stitch before weaving it in, and then I actually go through the stitches on the inside. So I'm actually splitting stitches on the inside, but turn it over and make sure you can't see the needle, yeah? By splitting stitches, that's going to be way too difficult to take undone. Now, the reason it's a no-no is because if you've made a mistake down here and we are weaving in up here, to take this undone, you would have to cut into your work, because coming through, trying to get it out of the split stitch, it doesn't work. I'm going to bring it through a little bit more because it doesn't seem like it's gone through enough. Just make sure you've come through enough here. There you go. And then I split to go back in the other direction. I split the stitch yet again, and the stitches on the inside of the work, but I always check the front. Nothing worse than you see the needle and it looks terrible. Well, you see the needle now, but when you pull the thread through, you see the thread as well. You don't want that. So I've done it twice. Now, if you want to, you can go back a third time, but we've already crocheted over it once. If you didn't crochet over yours when we were doing it, then sew it through that third time, yeah? There you go. And cut that thread and just give your work a gentle tug, and it tucks in under the stitch, but not only under the stitch, in between the split stitches, which is an absolute no-no. Why am I showing you this? Because I'm naughty. All right, so that's that. The other threads, like your corner ones, are very simple here. All you're doing is weaving in and out of that corner. But remember, we crocheted over our thread. Remember to split your thread just that little bit in the beginning, right there, just a tiny little bit, and then go through your corner, yeah? Making sure you can't see the needle from the front, yeah? All right, so continue to weave in all your ends off air later, once we're done. But in the meantime, if you're wanting to make the bag with us, let me show you what you need to do next, all right? So there's your knot. What do? We start the corner just before it. If you are following in our directions as well, grab your thread, pulling it through, and your tail, passing it forward. And here we go. Chain 1, 2, and 3. Grab your stitch marker. All right, so grab that, and you're putting it in the top 2 loops, remember? Top 2 loops, yep. You might want to tighten a little bit, not too much, otherwise you can't get into it later. She says, as she always does, have problems with doing your corner. Well, this is called a beginning corner cluster. It's not exactly a corner cluster. When I'm doing a written pattern, this one is called a beginning corner cluster because we have a beginning chain 3. Then we go chain 1 and 2, finishing off our corner like so. Easy, yeah? Grab your little tail, popping it at the back. And now you have 1, 2, 3 side spaces. So every time your piece grows, you add an extra side space. We had 2 to begin with, then we had 3. We had 1 to begin with, then we had 2, and now we have 3. So we are filling up 3 side spaces. Jump over this space and fill up your side spaces. Super duper easy. I'm going to pick up speed a little bit here so we can get into the next corner, filling up all your side spaces. When you get to that next corner, you should have 3 side spaces filled in. Remember your little tail. If you want to crochet over it, you can. Whoops. Like so. Or you can leave it there and weave it in later. No big deal. Jumping into your corner with your corner space or your corner cluster set or your double cluster set. It depends on whose pattern you're reading, yeah? And yes, the jargon is something we all must get used to. Crochet jargon, it's like anything really. You know, it's part of it all, isn't it? All right, so there we go. What you've done is one side, one corner. That's 1, 2, 3 singles and your 2 doubles, yeah? Now, once again, it's 1, 2, 3 singles, a corner, 1, 2, 3 singles, a corner, 1, 2, 3 singles, and just wait for me there. That's correct, guys. You are going to head off on your own and do this whole side by yourself. When you get to that last space right there, meet me there and we'll talk about what's going to happen next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this round. Now, I'm going to show you how to join your yarn again, slip stitch again, and then I'm going to show you how to weave in this particular end, all right? So slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. How gorgeous are these colours looking, yeah? Pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook, pulling up your loop. Many ways you can do this. There was a special join you could have done, but for beginners, that's just going to be too tricky. So what I want you to do is just that. Grab your sewing needle, and as you can tell, I've weaved in all my other ends. Don't forget to weave in all those ends. And just thread your needle. All right. So the way I see it, I literally usually go the way the needle is facing. You could either go that way or this way. It doesn't matter. But what I do like to do is turn it to the back, yeah, and go through one of the back loops of one of the first or last stitches, whichever suits you. You can go through the back loop of that one there, or you can go through the back loop of this one right here, whatever suits you. And when I say back loop, I mean just the back loop of the stitches. That's your front loop of the stitch, and that's your back loop. So we're going to go straight into, where am I? This is a stitch we are in. So we're going into the back loop of that one. Again, you can go into any one, but that's where I'm going. I'm going to pull the thread down a little bit and the knot pulls back so you don't see it. Then, whilst you're at the back, this is where it gets a tiny little bit tricky. You literally do a naughty no-no and split some thread, making sure you can't see the needle from the front, yes, and pop that needle through there. Split yet again another thread. Can you see the needle? Almost, but not really, which is good. Pulling that through. Once you get down to here, what can you do here? You can go straight under these stitches here and weave in that way. Make sure you can't see the needle. Splitting some of your purple underneath as well, which is what I've done, yeah? Don't pull this too tight or this will happen, watch. Don't do that, yeah? And don't leave it too loose or it'll stick up at the back. So give yourself a decent tension, then go back into the other direction by splitting yarn yet again on the inside, making sure you can't see the needle, yeah? So you're splitting that there. Turn it back around, do one more time, because yours truly is an absolute stickler when it comes to ends. And there you go, making sure you can't see the needle. Oh, I think I can see it just that little bit. No, not really. That's just purple. Yeah, pull it through. And let's say, for argument's sake, that was your last tail of your round. Then you are complete with your square. And you can use your square for anything. But initially, the first 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds are the rounds you need for most projects. So that many rounds right there, yeah? We're using this round because we're doing this. This is where we are right now, right there. We did our 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. We did a 5th round because we added our green again. Now you're going to go back to yellow, orange and purple and green. So yellow, orange, purple and green, and it'll look like this square right here. All right, so this will be the bag that we're making on Saturday mornings live. And this is the bag we're making Wednesday afternoons. So you can either watch either one of them. The style's the same, just different colour combination, of course. Or you can watch them both and make 2 bags. Why not? 2 different coloured bags, whatever you want. Now your job, this is the easy part if you're wanting to make our bag with us, is to do the next 4 rounds, okay? And that is the yellow, orange, purple and green again. All right, so we started with our center green, we did a yellow, orange, purple, and then we did the green. Now we need to do yellow, orange, purple, and green again, and your side spaces here will grow. Okay, so you now have in this next round, which is the yellow, 1, 2, 3, 4 side spaces. When you do your orange, you'll have 5. When you do your purple, you'll have 6. When you do the green, you'll have 7. And how you know that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So your job now is to do those 4 colours again. One more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Make your square as big as ours. Then make a second one, join us on our lives, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Thank you very much for joining us here today at Wow Crochet Designs and making a granny square with us. Now for the newbies, this tutorial was created specifically just for you. However, if you want to make our bag with us as well, go ahead and join us on our lives. Now, 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoon and 10 a.m. Saturday morning is actually Melbourne Australia time. So if you are in another country, just marry up the times and join us then, all right? Or you can just rewatch the live, and the Saturday's live that we created this square in is in the description box down below, and it's called Granny Square Live, and start the live around 1 hour in, unless you want to watch it from the beginning, where we do have a lot of fun as well. So there you go. Thank you for joining me, and all I want to say right now is happy crocheting to you. Ciao for now.